Management at SRTM University, Nanded, has a vast teaching and research experience, also have an professional experience of working in a corporate sector, worked as a management consultant in Dreware Private Limited, manufacturers of Nirlab non-stick cookware at Jalna for the period of 1986 to 1993. Successfully guided six students for PhD, five in management science, one in commerce, and four students were awarded MPhil. Have also successfully completed research projects, major and minor research projects funded by University Grants Commission and SRTM University Nanded, amounting to more than 6 lakh rupees, 7 lakh rupees. Then guided 150 projects of MBA marketing, and I'll also have publication in national and international journals and magazines. Also have attended paper presentation at conference and workshop. Also have held the additional charge of finance account officer of SRTM University, Nanded. Also have examination experience working as a referee for PhD. Also, as a resource person, she has delivered number of talks. So indeed, it is really an honor and pleasure for all of us to have her here uh, in this cloud meeting. So on behalf of UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, I welcome Madhuri Deshpande ma'am, and I would now request Gaurav to make ma'am a co-host also. Gaurav, madam को co-host बनाइए आप. Yes, ma'am, you can continue. Over to you.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity to talk about different aspects with reference to NEP 2020. It's always a matter of pleasure to think, to review, and to reconsider various highlights of this NEP 2020 and try to get an understanding regarding different dimensions of education. Now, today's topic is holistic and multidisciplinary education. Is my screen visible? Now, today's topic is holistic and multidisciplinary education. Basically, when we utter the word education, definitely it has to be holistic and multidisciplinary. Why is it that there is a need to attach the prefix like holistic and multidisciplinary education? In case education is not holistic, education is not multidisciplinary, then what sense does it make for dealing with education and for expecting a well-rounded development of an equitable kind of society, and which would be contributing with all its details with reference to national development as such. So for better understanding of NEP 2020 and for having a clear view regarding holistic and multidisciplinary education, let us focus on few definitions of education Let us try to appreciate what is basically the term education it is about, and then we'll just ponder over some aspects of NEP 2020, and then on the basis of few guidelines of NEP 2020, let us try to just discuss different aspects and dimensions of holistic as well as multidisciplinary education. Well, with reference to this different aspects of education, again, let me clarify a few things before I begin with a few selected definitions of education. This NEP 2020, as we understand, basically, it was launched in the year 2020. It is a part of our nation's national education policy. This national education policy, that is the first education policy in the world history, which is having tremendous amount of inputs received from all sections of the society. Lakhs of inputs from all the stakeholders dealing with education. They were invited, they were sought, they were compiled, analyzed, and in the light of that, the draft of NEP 2020, it was developed, and again, it was being revised, and final draft, it was launched for our execution and for implementation of this national education policy. Now, again, when we talk about the aspect of holistic and multidisciplinary education, then there is a temptation to go back in the history of our ancient Bharat and find out what had happened with reference to education. Number of scholars and number of stalwarts in ancient India, they were just shining stars in the galaxy. You take any discipline, maybe astronomy, maybe mathematics, maybe yoga, maybe different aspects of culture, and you will find that number of names, they were very much prominent, many towering personalities, that Gargi, Maitreyi, Sushrut, Sharak. Number of names, Aryabhat, Varahamihir. Number of names were there, and they were contributing their best to the world. They were having a visible, a very, very remarkable kind of presence at the world scenario. And the entire credit that is attributed to our ancient education system. Lots of gurukuls, they were working at their best in those days. Lots of gurukuls. At present also, gurukul system that is in place in our country. Till now, a vast number of gurukuls, they are doing their best, they are contributing their best at this moment also in our nation, not to talk about the ancient Bharat scenario. Now, this Gurukul system was having a unique pattern of shaping the personality of the student. It had a very, very special way of training the mindset, of training the soul, of just nurturing the mindset of the learners. Now, again, when we turn the pages of history, then we'll find that very prominent educational institutes, they were doing their best, like Nalanda, Takshashila, Kolabi, and like that. Number of universities, they were doing their best. And scholars from all over the world, they used to visit our country for the sake of seeking education. Lot of learners, they used to come. If at all, some learners, they could not seek admission in this world-renowned kind of universities, then in the vicinity of all such kinds of universities, number of other universities also, they were having their strong presence in such a manner that all the learners from across the globe, they could be accommodated in different disciplines of knowledge in various ways, so that no aspirant of learning would be going back without seeking admission and without getting information, knowledge, as well as education. That kind of robust system of education we had. And because of that, number of remarkable inventions, innovations, discoveries, they are attributed to ancient India. But their deterioration of our Gurukul system, it was started with the enactment of the first Education Act by the British in 1835. And thereafter, with some specific objectives of killing the spirit, the originality of the Indians. Now, with specific agenda with reference to that, only clerical mindset, it was being trained, only a few aspects of education, they were just given attention to. Then after independence, we could get our new education policy in 1986. Thereafter again, some action orientation program, it was introduced 1992. But anyhow, NEP 2020 very truly, it is having the spirit and the essence of our ancient system of education. Nowadays, we boast about the literacy percentage, increasing literacy percentage. But dear colleagues, you tell me, with increase in percentage of literacy, are we observing consequent kind of achievements and accolades with reference to this increase in literacy percentage? Whatever wrong practices we observe in the society, maybe with reference to crime, maybe with reference to violence, maybe with reference to not so ethical and not so just legal kind of practices and customs being observed in the society, in our day-to-day life also. So that is not being done. In spite of increase in literacy, are we educated in such a manner that crime percentage also equally it is on an increase? How is it? How we can attribute the education, the objectives of education with reference to whatever unrest, whatever imbalances we observe in the society at this moment? Consider a single issue, maybe of women's safety. Are women safe in our country? I mean, I don't want to just invite some kind of controversy as such, but basically with reference to the different dimensions of education, I wish to bring to your attention that very miserably we are missing several dimensions of education which are involved in the term education itself. As a mob, whenever we observe, whenever we are a part of the crowd and we observe that something wrong happens on road, something wrong happens maybe in roads, maybe in trains, maybe in buses, maybe in aeroplanes. How many of us have the courage, have the willingness to stop that, to intervene and stop that? Many times criminals, they are few in number and spectators may are many. But in spite of that, we are losing the courage. We are losing the initiative which is required for the sake of intervening and stopping whatever is not desirable, whatever is not legal, whatever is not ethical. And because of that, acid attacks, they have become very much common. Physical abuse, that has become a common kind of thing nowadays. Number of instances we observe. In houses also, many times we observe from near relatives also, women, they are not safe. Neighborhood, is it completely safe? In case they are traveling by road, by rail, in air, are they completely being safe? In case they are in schools, colleges, in their offices, are they completely safe and secure? Then what does this literacy percentage mean? What is this so-called educated society, what it has to offer for the sake of development of an equitable and balanced kind of society wherein both the gender, they would be treated with respect, with dignity, and everyone would be free to contribute one's best for the sake of betterment of not only oneself, but betterment of the community, betterment of the society, and betterment of the economy as well as nation at the same time. So many of the vulnerable sections of the society, they are being deprived of this kind of pleasure because of number of inconveniences, because of number of abuses, because of number of wrong practices. And then we understand that something is missing with reference to education. Something is missing with whatever just values we are passing on to the society. Awareness of the environment, awareness of different constituents of the environment. What is my role in the society? What I am required to do? In what manner I am connected to other individuals, other institutions in the society? Formal education, definitely we are trying our best. We are having curriculum, we are having syllabus, we are having just a statistic with reference to results, performance standards, percentages, placements, and all that. So by all means, we are trying our best so as to give justice for the sake of formal education. But the different dimensions of education, different aspects of education like environment education, value education, are they receiving proper attention? Do they just get the required focus and required attention? And at that moment in time, again, we are required to look back at different kinds of features of NEP 2020 and how with that, once again, we are trying to regain our original strength in the form of our ancient Gurukul system of education. And with that, whatever just ideas we are having with reference to educating the all-round personality of the learner, from all possible ways, knowledge, definitely it is being imparted, it is being shared. But simultaneously, when we talk about education, it's not only about sharing of knowledge. At the same time, we have to pay attention for development of the skills also. We have to share knowledge in such a manner that consequently, whatever skills they are required for a learner to make the livelihood, to make the living, so as to be useful for the society, so as to make a remarkable contribution to the community, to the economy, to the nation, definitely it has to be developed. So along with sharing of knowledge, enhancement of skills, inculcation of some specific kind of skills, definitely that is a focus which we have to check whether we are ignoring that, whether we are not having adequate focus on that. Along with knowledge, along with skills, the third aspect is with reference to attitude. It is with reference to mindset. What kind of attitude we are influencing, we are forming with reference to the learners? What kind of mindset training we are planning, we are visualizing, and accordingly, with the help of all kinds of teaching learning methodologies, are we giving proper justice for the sake of training of mindset of the learners so that that learner would become a responsible citizen, that person would become capable, competent, professional, and responsible enough? Are we paying attention to such kind of aspects also? So whenever there is an issue of this kind, so definitely guidelines of NEP 2020, they matter a lot. Because only on the basis of those guidelines, at each and every step we take, whatever teaching learning methodology we are adopting, whatever communication style we are adopting, whatever leadership style we are imbibing, whatever philosophy we are developing on our own as a teacher, what kind of interaction we are giving to the students, how is it that we are able to identify the different categories of the students? What kind of efforts we are giving to that? Definitely, I accept. You will also agree with me that every teacher is giving full justice for the sake of syllabus handed over by the Board of Studies. BOS members, to the best of their capacity, they develop state-of-the-art curriculum, and accordingly, they hand it over to the teachers for execution. Now again, whenever we are having the latest syllabi in our hands, we do our best so as to convey that, so as to convey all the course content, the latest developments in the area to the students. Then there is a system of imparting knowledge. We have timetables. We have examination timetables, regular class timetables. We are having an assessment system for appraising the worth of a learner, for identifying the learners, how good they are, how of them they are best. But how many opportunities we get and we utilize for the sake of understanding the diversity among the learners? Their background, they are completely different. Their mindset, very typically, it can never be the same. Their grasping level is different. Their expectations, they are different. Their dreams are different. Their priorities are different. To what extent we are paying attention to all these? There is a big question. Basically, education, it has to be a one-to-one kind of interaction. Every learner is unique. Every learner has unique needs. Every learner needs a special focus and a careful attention. As a teacher, what kind of attention we are giving for the sake of these unique needs of the learners? Number of questions are there, and we are trying to find out answers in the form of the concept holistic and multidisciplinary education. As we understand, graduates, postgraduates, when at the time of placement interviews, when at the time of admission interviews, we get an opportunity to evaluate the students, to appraise their performance regarding what they did at their graduation or post-graduation, then number of experiences are there in which we feel ashamed. There are very good practices, there are extraordinary students as well. There are some cases wherein there is very, very poor performance. As I said initially, standard syllabus, standard procedure of a classroom, formal lecture, and conveying the syllabi to the students, and finding out whether the student is capable of getting the certificate and the degree or not on the basis of passing percentage of the qualifying examination, that is the normal routine. But whenever this normal routine we are adopting, are we sensitive enough to experience many shortcomings and many inconveniences and many disappointments which have been attached with that? When we enter any classroom, maybe any discipline, maybe any region, any area, then you'll find that there is a composition of average students, and in the same class, there are advanced learners as well. There are slow learners. How many of us give a proper attention for the sake of identifying such kinds of diversities as far as the grasping and the intelligence level of the students is concerned? If at all we are not sensitive regarding this issue, then how we can say that we are making an effort so as to educate the learners? It's only on the basis of unique needs of the learners that we are required to develop a special approach, a special course of action so as to meet out the needs of that individual learner. We understand that in the light of workload, in the light of various kinds of rigidities in our education system, it's not very easy to address all such kinds of issues. But anyhow, in case we are not able to find out many such kinds of opportunities so as to understand such kinds of special, unique needs of the learners, and accordingly, in case we don't make the effort so as to be flexible, so as to modify our teaching learning process, so as to modify the choice of teaching learning methodology, so as to change the style of communication, so as to understand the outcome of the education, then the very basis of education, it would be useless, it would be futile, it would be of no use as such. Now, with this brief background, again, let me share with you few definitions of education. And again, once again, we'll try to understand what are the different dimensions attached with objectives of education, meaning of education, and the outcome of education, along with a proper focus on the process of education. Dear friends, at some point in time, role of a teacher, it was synonymous with that of a tutor. Get a standard syllabus, convey that through a formal classroom, through formal methods of lecture, and like that. And accordingly, conduct examination at the end of the process. And in case students, they are getting minimum passing percentage, then being happy that the target was achieved. I did my job. I gave justice to my task. Gone are the days. Now, at this moment, role of a teacher, it has been enhanced to being of a operations manager. Like learning ambience, it has to be created. You are very much resourceful as a teacher. You thought a lot, you read a lot, you discussed a lot, you developed a good vision, you developed a good insight about the subject. But what sense does it make in case no one is interested in that? In case the learner, they don't have the learning desire, howsoever resourceful you are, whatever efforts you are making, they would be of no use. And from that angle, role of a teacher is not only being best at the delivery, but the value chain before the beginning, it has to be visualized, and accordingly effort should be made so that you would be able to arouse the learnability of the students. You would be able to just give justice for the sake of learnability of the students. You should be able to develop curiosity, give justice to that. Develop learning environment. Find out which are the available kind of teaching learning methodologies, pedagogies being available, which of them they are suitable for this particular group of students, how many are the slow learners, how many are the advanced learners, then what kind of combination of methods, what kind of combination of approaches is to be used so that every learner would be getting the best within that available kind of time, with reference to the available resources. So this is how curricula, teaching learning methodology, all the steps of the teaching learning process, objectives of the process, crystallizing the objectives of this process, ways and means so as to find out whether the objectives have been achieved or not. So on each of these aspects, a proper focus, a proper thinking is a must. Now consider about any educational institute. While seeking admission, while exploring the worth of an educational institute, many of the times placement percentage is taken into consideration. That is one of the major factors to choose an educational institute. How many of the students of the last batches they were placed? What kind of packages they receive? Which were the recruiters? How frequently they come to this institute? So this kind of question, they have become more and more important nowadays in the light of selection of an educational institute. Do we understand the difference between an educational institute and a placement agency? Management institutes, are they treated like glorified placement agencies? What is education for? Only for the sake of making livelihood? So number of such questions, they arise, and proper answers we are required to find out to all such kinds of questions in the light of our own situation. Wide diversities are there from place to place, from region to region, from state to state, from institute to institute. Government institute, they are having a different dynamics. Private institute, their dynamics is different. Rural areas, urban areas, very differently. The needs, they are to be appreciated. So this is how. First, let us try to identify number of issues, number of concerns, number of doubts, number of confusions with reference to this education system, and then systematically, step by step, we'll try to understand what basically is expected, what basically is being done, and now what basically we expect in the near future, in the very near future, being done. Now, in the NEP 2020 implementation, already it has been started. Different states, they are having a different status of implementation of NEP 2020 essentials. Fortunately, our state of Maharashtra, that is again very forward in implementing all such kinds of many of such kinds of issues with reference to NEP 2020. For post-graduation, already we accepted that from last year, the as per the national education policy, the revised curriculum and the revised structure of graduation program also we have started. From government side, lot of efforts they are being made. As I said in the beginning, when the draft was under being prepared, Honorable Kasturi Ranganji, under his chairmanship, whenever the committee used to conduct the meetings and some deliberations, brainstorming, it was being done. At that time, number of stakeholders, lakhs of stakeholders from different platforms, from different levels of communication, they were handing over their expectations and their suggestions. And definitely they were being considered. That was one part of making an education an all-inclusive, equitable kind of exercise. Thereafter, again, whenever the draft was ready, it was presented to the society. At that point also, now the government realized that now the task of the administrators and policy makers, it was over. Very well, they understood now the role of the teacher is going to be very much significant in implementation of NEP 2020. And with that, now at that time, the corona pandemic, we were under the influence of the corona pandemic. So at that time, several webinars, a series of webinars, it was conducted by Niti Aayog. Specifically, the focus of NEP 20, the webinars of NEP 2020 in those days, it was to visualize the difficulties in proper execution of NEP 2020. And teachers being at the grassroots level, they were being at the first contact with reference to implementation of NEP 2020, they were required to verbalize their concerns, their suggestions, their recommendations for the sake of making this NEP 2020 a success. Definitely in the phase of transition, number of difficulties they arise. It's not very easy to introduce some change, accepting the change, imbibing that change through all levels, through all the levels of the society. It's not very easy. And from that perspective, so as to visualize what kind of difficulties that might arise, Niti Aayog conducted a series of webinars along with other NGOs. Bharatiya Shikshan Mandal also was a part of this initiative. And accordingly, all the teachers, they were required to speak freely about their concerns, their apprehensions, what kind of difficulties and hurdles they expected, and taking into consideration the report of all such kinds of feedback of the webinars. On that basis, again, some kind of modifications, they were effected, and later on, implementation of NEP 2020, it was started with a proper hierarchical kind of setup. Thereafter, again, it was observed that after NEP 2020 implementation, it was started, then again, always the administrator, the decision maker, the teachers, they were again being involved, finding out the question, how to make it easily acceptable and digestible by all the stakeholders. And in that way, they conducted several groups, several task forces, and accordingly, number of programs like recently one initiative like School Connect, it was conducted last year, in which students who were having education in the 10th, 12th, as well as last year of graduation, they were trained for the sake of what kind of features of NEP 2020 they are being offered, what kind of choices and what kind of just options they are available for them. So accordingly, awareness initiative in the form of School Connect, it was again a praiseworthy initiative of the government in which teachers who were trained, they had a discussion with the students. They addressed number of apprehensions of the students, and accordingly students completely they were being made aware regarding many features of NEP 2020. So this is how from all possible kind of angles justice is being given for the sake of proper planning, designing, and implementing of various essentials of 2020. Let us see, as I said in the beginning, let us begin with a few aspects regarding the meaning of education, and then we'll touch NEP 2020, and along with that, we'll speak about holistic and multidisciplinary education. Now, education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Because education is not only preparation for life, education is life itself. Education is not only for the sake of making livelihood. Education is for the sake of making life beautiful, meaningful, and useful. The journey has to be very much significant, enjoyable, and fruitful. That is the basic meaning of education. I was addressing that nowadays placement percentage and placement dynamics, it has become very much significant. Then what about entrepreneurship? What about the aspect of lateral thinking? What about different issues like innovation, creativity, visualization? Are all such kinds of abilities of the students, are they not required to be shaped? Are they not required to be enriched out of the educational initiatives? Whenever a student is given the impression that you are seeking education for the sake of getting a good job, for the sake of getting a good spouse, for the sake of getting a good package, so definitely it is very much harmful and very much dangerous for the society. The aim of education is the knowledge, not of facts, but of values. Value education, as I said, miserably, many times we observe that it was missing in the existing education system in those days. One of the chief aims of education is to widen the window through which we glance at the world. Well, as we understand, turning mirrors into windows. Purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows. Who am I? Koham. What is the basic purpose of my life, of my existence? How good I am? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? In what manner I can be useful for the others? In what manner I can help others? In what manner I can contribute for the betterment of my community? In what manner I can contribute for the betterment of my nation? In what manner I am connected with the other individuals? What kind of collaborations I am required to enter so as to make this world a more beautiful place to live? So number of such kinds of issues, they arise whenever we are removing the focus from having a narrow orientation to being very much broad, very much versatile kind of approach through which we understand whatever is the global scenario, we understand the international dynamics. It was there initially in our education system. Vishwamanav, that kind of concept was there. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that kind of concept was there. Whenever Banabhatta's Kadambari spoke about 64 kalas or arts, liberal arts. It was a mix of science as well as arts. It had under it different aspects of knowledge like metallurgy. It had a combination of number of sciences, number of humanities kind of aspects also they were being involved. And along with that, soft skills, again, they required a proper focus. Gurukul system, as I said, it was like one aspect of Gurukul system was trying to find out how I am connected with the environment, how I am connected to the external world. Whenever I am trying to know about grapes, I know about, when I want to know about grapes, in my class of history, I understand the history of grapes. Whenever in the timetable I am having a class of geography, then I understand the geographical aspects of grapes. Whenever I'm concerned with marketing aspect, in my class of marketing, I will be able to get that. So some compartments, they were being established. And in which, whenever I'm talking history, geography is apart from me. Science, that is very far from me. In Gurukul system, it was all inclusive, all combined, all pervasive kind of approach. Guru used to take students to the farms in which grapes they are grown. And then, along with the agriculture, along with sowing aspect, along with cultivation, along with the growing of the crops, growing of the fruits, preservation, transportation, quality of soil, what kind of nutrients they are required for proper growth of the fruit. Along with that, what kind of climate is required, role of water, role of sunlight. So all such kinds of aspects combined together, students, they used to learn under the open sky. Whatever processes they are required after completion, after full growth of the crops, how to pack it, how to store it, how to transport it, where is the market, how to identify the market, how to identify the vendors, how to enter into some meaningful kind of terms and conditions, favorable terms of trade along with them. If at all you are interested in some kind of processing industry, what are the avenues, what are the possibilities, how it is being done. So all such kinds of aspects in under Gurukul system, without the barrier of compartmentalization of different subjects, different courses of different disciplines, without timetable and all that, it was being done in a comprehensive and a holistic and integrated kind of manner. So that is the need of the hour. Because whenever you learn about specialized area, about a super specialization area, more and more you are going deep into deep, and at the same time you are being diverted from the other disciplines of knowledge. Holistic education you can never have in case you are giving importance for specialization and super specialization. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Where is the place for character building? Whenever we are only giving importance for textbook reading, digesting whatever has been conveyed, and giving importance for the sake of rote learning, giving importance only for passing out with good marks, and seeing to it that whenever you are getting a good job in a good corporate, everything is over. Whenever you're talking about AI, whenever you are enjoying ChatGPT, are you in a position to appreciate what are the ill effects and what are the adverse consequences of all these in few years to come? Artificial intelligence, what kind of harmful effects it might have? Are we aware about that? Are we aware that along with the positive side, there is a negative side also being attached? Do we have the courage? Do we have the, we can say, the realization regarding technological advances? What kind of impact these technological breakthroughs they are having upon the social system, about the cultural norms? Very miserably, we are finding number of gaps with reference to all such kinds of issues. And with reference to that, definitely, we have to understand what are the different dimensions of education. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. Very true. At some point in time, intelligence, it was the sole measure of success. Only on the basis of intelligence quotient, success of a person used to be dependent upon, used to be decided upon. But now we understand nowadays, we are talking about emotional quotient. We are talking about spiritual quotient. We talk about social quotient, adversity quotient. We are aware nowadays about the concept of multiple intelligence. Whatever education system we had and we are following at this moment, is there a place for giving justice for the concept of multiple intelligence? All the dimensions of intelligence, do they receive the required focus and the desired attention? So each definition is giving rise to number of such kinds of issues. The ability to read, write, and analyze. We are giving attention for the capacity of reading, for the capacity of writing. Are we serious that in our students, the capacity to analyze, the ability to analyze, is it being trained? Is it being enriched? Deliberate efforts, what kind of deliberate efforts we are making for the sake of ensuring that these analytical skills, decision-making skills, are they being just developed in our students? Whenever we are communicating them through a formal lecture method, whenever we are communicating to them with maybe a role play, with maybe a case study, maybe some management games in basket exercises, maybe group interviews, group discussions, personal interviews, number of methodologies we do adopt. We deal with concepts, we deal with applications, we deal with theories, we develop principles. Are we very much serious with reference to this ability to analyze development of that? Second part of this Obama's statement says, the confidence to stand up and demand justice and equality. Are we confident as teachers that we are just developing sufficient and adequate confidence among the students that they would be standing up and demand justice and equality as and when it is required? The qualifications and connections to get your foot in the door and take your seat at the table, all of that starts with education. At some point in time, whenever I entered my alma mater, Swami Ramanand Tirth Mathwada University, In the old building, I read a statement, a quotation written on the wall. The destiny of India is being shaped in her classrooms, is now being shaped in her classrooms. Then I was thinking that as a teacher, that kind of onerous responsibility I'm having of developing my nation, developing the fate of my nation. Definitely, it indicates a holistic, integrated development of the student in such a manner that definitely everyone would be very much clear regarding what is my role, what is my responsibility, and what I'm expected to contribute for the sake of my nation. So that kind of patriotism, that kind of honesty, that kind of clarity as a teacher, I'm required to develop among my students. What makes a child gifted and talented may not always be good grades in school, but a different way of looking at the world and learning. All my students say, for example, they speak very good about me. They are very happy with me. I give them good marks. They get good marks as far as internal assessment is concerned. And regarding university examination also, they are getting good marks. As a teacher, is it enough for me? I used to teach entrepreneurship in Nantir campus at School of Commerce and Management Sciences of Swami Ramanand Marathwada University. In the year 96, for the first time, they taught the course Business Entrepreneurship. It was introduced in the curriculum of MBA. Then that course was allotted to me. I never studied that course in my graduation. So when that course was allotted to me, I started studying. And I used to continue with updation of that subject with reference to giving justice to my role as a teacher of entrepreneurship development. It went on for a number of years. No, again, a subject like entrepreneurship, it requires a different treatment from the other courses, from the other subjects of the curriculum. So I underwent a training at Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India at Ahmedabad, EDI Ahmedabad, for the sake of getting that kind of training. Train the trainers, that was the motto. So a 10 days residential program, I underwent for the sake of making myself more and more enriched and more just effective for being a teacher of entrepreneurship. Being in Marathwada, somewhat industrially backward kind of area and a backward kind of mindset. Always I used to think that a teacher of entrepreneurship has to do something for the sake of making changes in the betterment, for the betterment of the situation. I mean, a single teacher may not be having that kind of influence in the society, may not be very much significant kind of parameters so as to bring out the change, but definitely some opportunity has to be identified so that I can know whether I am in the right direction. What I am doing when I used to enter the class, my class of MBA or MCOM, or maybe whenever I'm interacting with the students of other disciplines from other institutes and other colleges, then again I used to ask the question before the beginning that how many of you are interested in being an entrepreneur? So very few students, they indicated their preference for the sake of being an entrepreneur. Slowly over number of years, because of changes in the society, because of changes in the approach of the government, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Digital India, Make in India, number of initiatives they were launched. And with that, definitely with incubators, with accelerators, number of such kinds of initiatives, venture capitalists, we observe now that more and more aspirants, they are being attracted towards entrepreneurship. And now with that, still now, a significant proportion of the students still now, they are not free, they are not willing to move towards entrepreneurship. Why? What exactly is it that stops a student from being an entrepreneur, from seeing the dream of being an entrepreneur? Number of encouraging stories are there from different entrepreneurs. In spite of that, how is it that they're not being attracted towards entrepreneurship? So I was just asking such kind of questions. I was trying to find out the answers. And as a result of that, at some point in time, I was motivated to work for uh, a minor research project titled as Barriers to Entrepreneurship Among Commerce and Management Students, a case study of Swami Ramanand Tirth, Marathwada University, Nanded, Maharashtra. Because at my own level, I used to have an interaction with the students, with the other teachers, with the administrators, with the government officers, with the policy makers, with the heads of the institutes, different professionals, consultants, entrepreneurs, number of different persons from the society I used to interact, but still now I wanted that something is missing, something I have to yet realize, I have to yet learn. And then only I would be competent enough, I would be capable enough to give justice to my role as a teacher of entrepreneurship. Then I developed the research proposal. Accordingly, I presented that kind of proposal and I got sponsorship of the university for the sake of carrying on that project. So I conducted the survey and definitely very, very meaningful kind of reflections I could get out of the study. At several different levels, we are required to be associated with for enriching a teacher within us. Whenever at some point in time, I was just being very much happy with my role as a teacher of management, as a teacher of commerce. I was very much happy and very happily, I was trying to experiment with new methods, new approaches, new teaching learning styles. And at some point in time, there was an offer for me for getting the responsibility of finance and accounts officer at my own university. Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Nimse, he just indicated that in case I'm interested, he offered me that kind of opportunity. Then I thought I accepted this opportunity based on different kinds of lines of thinking, different kinds of thoughts. Like as a teacher of management, when I joined the School of Commerce and Management Sciences, I had an industrial exposure. As a management and industrial consultant, I was associated with one of the important brands of non-stick cookware, Nirlev. So that kind of experience I had to my credit. So a corporate exposure I had. But once I joined the industry, thereafter, a restricted kind of contact was there with the industry. Only with reference to industrial meets, only with reference to some kind of symposium, or maybe with reference to conferences and seminars, I used to have some kind of interaction. maybe with reference to guest lectures and all that, maybe with reference to industrial visit, industrial tours. But beyond that, I could get no opportunity for having a corporate exposure. So I took it that way. That for enriching a teacher within me, definitely I must have some interaction with the real life business world. So at my own institute, in case I'm getting that opportunity, so I accepted that for the sake of enriching a teacher in me. Because I used to tell them management principles, I used to convey to them management practices. But when I do practice management, what is my experience? In what manner? I would change my own approach, my own style, my own way of communicating them. So I was very much eager and curious to know that. And because of that, I accepted that responsibility. So dear friends, as I said in the beginning, role of a teacher, it is not restricted only being that of a tutor. Only with conveying the syllabus, conducting the examination and declaration of the results, and seeing to it that they are being well placed in the corporates with good packages as they deserve. Role of a teacher, it is not restricted to that. It has to go beyond that. Because on my own, I experienced that when I worked as a president of internal complaints committee, then I understood that several gender perspective that was not so prominent until yet. The manner in which I used to interact with the students, because teachers, they are like role models for the students. How they behave, what kind of statements do they make, how they respond, what kind of initiatives they organize, what kind of activities they are interested in, what kind of opportunities they provide to the students. Students very keenly, 24/7, they observe the activities, the task, the personality of the teachers. And when I work as the president of this ICC, the committee against sexual harassment of women at workplace, so definitely that aspect of gender issue, gender sensitization, gender equality, definitely it again, it is not that I was not sensitive to that, but a new focus, a refined kind of approach I observe with reference to this new role, new responsibility, new experience. And that definitely on my own, I experienced that a teacher in me now is doing in a far better way than before. So number of opportunities are there for us to interact with other institutes, to interact with other teachers, to interact with other consultants, other professionals, to interact with industries, government sector, non-governmental agencies. So definitely, when we are required to give justice for holistic and multidisciplinary education, definitely this role of academic administration, academic leadership, and academic collaborations, that is just indispensable. Think about that. I mean, as a teacher, I used to realize that. I used to appreciate that. I never requested anyone for giving me any responsibility or for giving me any designation as such. But whenever in due course of time, Some responsibility was assigned. Whenever I used to give justice to that responsibility, then every time there was a big pleasure. There was an immense pleasure in giving justice to the assigned task and to the assigned responsibility. It was really very much challenging. It was very much enriching to do that, along with giving justice to the role of a teacher. So whenever at some point in time I was having the additional charge of finance and accounts officer, I never deprived myself from the pleasure of delivering a lecture and having an interaction with my students. I used to enter my school first, engage my class with the students, and then I used to go to the office of the finance and accounts officer, and then I used to give justice for that task. Never directly I went into the FAO office, because always I believe that my responsibility is to serve as a teacher. This job is as a teacher, and all other responsibilities, they are secondary, they are supplementary and contributory, complementary, sort of complementary for the task, my task as a teacher. And always to all such kinds of responsibilities, I looked as an opportunity for achieving excellence and perfection in my role as a teacher. Similarly, people, they used to wonder that when I was working as a pro vice chancellor, how is it that for 60 minutes, 120 minutes, how I can afford to engage a class, and how is it that still I'm interested in interacting with my students? But basically, I was very clear that although as a teacher of management, it was my responsibility to give justice to academic administration if at all it is required. That was never my priority. But whenever someone thinks that, whenever there is a realization that I have to do that kind of task, definitely I look toward that opportunity for getting more and more experience, for getting more and more exposure. And with that, definitely I look to that opportunity for moving towards excellence and perfection as a teacher. So no wonder, as a PVC, I used to enjoy my classes. I used to enjoy just conducting the lectures and various activities for my students. And whatever time it was required for giving the responsibility to my task, I used to go out of the working hours also, because it was a matter of pleasure for giving justice, for representing my university to the other stakeholders, and to give justice for the sake of all-round growth of my own institute. Similarly, whenever I was required to be involved with international student setup, definitely, again, I'm very much happy that that experience also helped me a lot for increasing the pleasure as a teacher. So, dear friends, number of opportunities they are available, number of opportunities they are possible for the sake of getting more and more experience and exposure to the outside world, for the sake of collaborations, for the sake of networking, for the sake of betterment, for the sake of benchmarking. And accordingly, we must accept such kind of responsibilities and opportunities for being a good teacher. Academic leadership governance, and management. Very well, very closely, it is associated with role of a teacher. And definitely success of this education system, mainly it is dependent upon the performance of a teacher. Number of research studies, they indicate that more resourceful, more enthusiastic the teachers. So definitely in that proportion, number of conveniences, number of successes, they are being observed with reference to the education system. Now, with that, let us turn towards some essentials of NEP 2020. Now, whatever guidelines we observe with reference to NEP 2020, as I said, with reference to my experience, with reference to number of examples, I am trying to indicate that this is how you should pick up what is lacking in me, what has to be enriched, what has to be added to my philosophy, to my style, to my experience, to my observation, and accordingly, you should grab each such kind of chance so as to completely give justice for the sake of all-round, holistic, and integrated development of the students. NEP 2020 envisions an India-centric education system that contributes directly to transforming our nation sustainably into an equitable, this is what is important, an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all. High quality education. Is it not a contradiction? Whenever we say education, naturally it has to be quality education. Why we require one more label to call it as high quality education? But still, for the sake of better clarity, let us accept that quality education. I mean, there is nothing like education only and quality education something different. It is not like that. But anyhow, so as to just be more focused and more fruitful, let us try to appreciate that education must aim to develop individuals who are excellent, thoughtful, well-rounded, and creative. So, dear teachers, at each and every opportunity, whatever plan we make, whatever activities we perform, whatever initiatives we exercise, at every instant we should check that whether we are moving in the direction of developing the students who would be excellent, who would be thoughtful, who would be well-rounded, and definitely who would be very much creative and innovative in their ways and means, whether we are doing that or not. It must enable a person to study one or more specialized areas of interest at an in-depth level and develop character, ethical and constitutional values, intellectual curiosity, scientific temper, creativity, service spirit, and the skills of 21st century. Now, tremendous changes they have been taking place over a number of years. With LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization, and digitalization, now we have moved towards an entirely new, a totally new kind of world wherever different kinds of skills, different kinds of approaches they are expected from us across a range of fields, including sciences, social sciences, arts, humanities, languages, professional, technological, as well as vocational subjects. So this is a potpourri regarding all such kinds of issues, all such kinds of dimensions, which we are required to imbibe under our education delivery, our delivery of the curriculum. In developing an academic ambience in such a manner that a student would be having a realization about number of such kinds of fields and number of such kinds of disciplines together. NEP 2020, basically, it is based upon the 5 fundamental pillars of access, equity, quality, affordability, as well as accountability. Now, at this moment, I would like to take a break and then continue further with remaining dimensions regarding holistic as well as multidisciplinary dimensions of education. Is it okay for you? Okay. Now, as per this NEP 2020 uh, orientation kind of sensitization kind of program, each session of 90 minutes, that is supposed to be 60-minute presentation and 30-minute discussion. So in the next session, maybe we'll be taking 10 to 15 minutes break. And thereafter, we'll begin next session with discussion, and then the remaining kind of points which I wish to share with you, I would share those points with you. So let us begin the second session with discussion. Okay. So near about 10 to 15-minute break we'll have, and then again we'll connect. Shall we continue? Okay. Well, so we have seen meaning and purpose of education. On that basis, we'll try to know about some guidelines of NEP 2020, like flexibility. That is again a beautiful feature of NEP 2020. Uh, as per NEP 2020, a wide range of programs, courses they are offered, which are of academic as well as non-academic nature. Along with that, some vocational component also that is given importance. Vocational component we tried to attend, but anyhow it never received a proper focus. Now OJT, on-job training, that has been made a part of the curriculum. That is a compulsory part in graduation as well as undergrad, post-graduation level. So with that, a wide range of programs and subjects they are being available. And with that, ensuring integrity and unity of knowledge, that is again very, very effective kind of feature of NEP 2020. From all different possible dimensions, efforts are underway so as to appreciate the concept, the application, the methodology, and give justice for the sake of development. Holistic and multidisciplinary education. That is basically the theme of this today's session. And we are trying to take into consideration different facets of this holistic and multidisciplinary education. Total equity and inclusion. So this is again being involved under this NEP 2020, wherein a respect for diversity and respect for local context in all curriculum, pedagogy, and policy that is indicated under this NEP 2020. Now, these are again very important kind of aspects for understanding the dimensions of education. Emphasis on conceptual understanding, creativity, critical thinking, ethics, human and constitutional values, as well as life skills. Now, this is a complete package which is integrated, which is concerned with integrated development of the personality of the student. Conceptual understanding, a part of it. Along with that, creativity, critical thinking, lateral thinking, positivity, ethics, human values, constitutional values, as well as life skills. So every effort should be made so as to inculcate that while developing curriculum, while developing methodology, while ensuring the proper delivery. Everywhere, all these dimensions, they should be emphasized. Experiential learning methods. Just now I made a mention regarding OJT, internship programs and all that. So with that, experiential learning methods, they must be adopted. Now, what happens sometimes, BOS delivers some guidelines, gives some kinds of drafts and proposals. At our own level, as and when student needs indicate that, we should take that kind of freedom. We must exercise that kind of autonomy at our own level so as to ensure that kind of changes and that kind of need satisfaction of the learners. Promotion of multilingualism, Indian knowledge system, as well as value education. That is required to be a part of the curriculum. Teachers, they are at the heart of the learning process. Definitely. We teachers, we can make a big impact. And for making that kind of impact, what is required is a light but tight oversight and regulatory system so as to ensure integrity and transparency while encouraging innovative and creative ideas through autonomy, good governance, as well as empowerment. So, this is the requirement, a light but tight oversight and regulatory system. And this is for what reason? So as to ensure integrity and transparency. Integrity also has to be ensured as well as transparency has to be maintained. And innovative and creative ideas, they need to be encouraged. And for all these, what is required is autonomy, good governance, and empowerment. Self-empowerment, that is again a part of the game. And whenever, as a teacher, we are involved somewhere, we are having different portfolios, we are having different titles, designations. So at our own level, we should see to it that we should get various good governance practices being established, at the same time encouraging good practices that has been a part of the game. And along with that, we should give every opportunity for the others so as to be empowered. We should make an effort so as to empower. And at the same time, everyone has to be motivated so as to be self-empowered. Self-motivation is the best motivation. So at our own level also, we should strive for that. Regular formative assessment for learning. Outstanding research. RF research for outstanding research that is expected, and for that some independent kind of institute that is again being suggested under this NEP 2020. Foreign universities, they are encouraged so as to develop their campus. At the same time, efforts are made so as to motivate our Indian universities and institutes so as to develop our campuses abroad. So both the provisions, they are made under NEP 2020. So that there would be an intermingling at the international level, the global scenario, it would become familiar. And with that, real Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the concept of global village, it would be materialized into actual practice, which was the situation in the ancient India. While dealing with at two extremes, at one extreme, we are required to give justice for the human values, for constitutional values, and at the other continuum of the activity, we are required to take into consideration the modern technology also. So techno-savvy, we must be techno-savvy. We must be familiar with technological grounds. So that is the need of the hour. So it is contemplated to develop National Educational Technological Forum. The tech-based options for adult learning as well as e-courses in regional languages. Now, again, you must be aware that through various MOOC platforms such as NPTL, Swayam, and like that, other platforms also. So there is a possibility of seeking few credits which are required for the sake of particular kind of graduation or post-graduation kind of program. Some association can be made from a other premier institute, that kind of provision that is made under NEP 2020. Then again, there is a beautiful provision of ABC under which it is possible under multidisciplinary aspect, we'll pay attention to that later on, but just try to appreciate that in case ABC is there, Academic Bank of Credits. So because of one reason or the other, this year, I don't have adequate time, but next year, next semester, I am free for giving attention to my credit requirements. Then in the next semester, I can seek additional credit. This time, I will go for attaining the regular credits and that would be over. So next semester, in case I have adequate time available for me, so I can secure additional extra credits from other online platforms, and accordingly, I can preserve those credits in the digital locker. So maybe next year I require those credits being utilized. So definitely that facility that is available. Now let us turn with few dimensions of holistic education. NEP 2020 envisages holistic education as the way to lead the country to 21st century with an aim to have both individual and national development. It is the philosophy based on the premise that each learner finds identity, meaning, and purpose in life through their local connections with community, with natural world, and to humanitarian values such as compassion and peace. Now, already we have covered this issue. For the sake of just giving a systematic kind of treatment, once again, I am bringing to your attention. So already we have seen that each learner finds identity, meaning, and purpose in life. As I said, Koham, who am I? What is my role? How I should be connected with the others? What is my role and responsibility with others? How I should cooperate them? What kind of cooperation should I seek from them? What is my purpose in my life? What for I live for? So number of such kinds of issues, they can be they have to be tackled through holistic education, under which there would be a perfect clarity with reference to relationships, associations, collaborations, and communications with different stakeholders in the society. With community as well as natural world, and with reference to human and constitutional values also. So whenever we are paying attention to all these, to formal education, to environment education, and to value education, then only we can say that this is holistic education. Holistic is all round, thoughtful, and integrated development of the personality. All the dimensions of the personality, they must be reflected. Emotional intelligence, that has to be considered. Along with that, social intelligence, spiritual intelligence has to be given importance, social quotient, physical quotient. Whenever all such kinds of adversity quotient, whenever all these issues, they are groomed, nurtured in a systematic manner with a planned approach, then it amounts to holistic education. The purpose of holistic education is to develop highly capable, socially acceptable, skilled, enterprising, enthusiastic youth who would assume leadership in various spheres. So whenever we expect that student, they should assume leadership in various spheres so as to face national and global challenges with dedication to human values and rooted in glorious Indian culture and tradition. Obviously, we teachers, we should again do the same first. We should set that kind of role model in front of the students, and then only they would follow our footsteps. As and when I'm having some responsibility, I'm having some designation, definitely I should try my best so as to assume leadership, so as do the needful, so as to set the path for the others, so as to empower others, so as to encourage the others, so as to make a provision to that end. And then only we can expect the other dimensions of holistic education being fulfilled, that students, they are being holistically, they are being developed. Education seeks to address physical, emotional, social, ethical, cultural, and academic needs of students in an integrated manner with a motive of every student succeeds. Physical, emotional, physically also you are required to be fit. You are not required to be a bookworm only, dealing with only books. You only wrote learning, giving importance only with the theoretical definitions and all that. At the same time, you should see to it that physically also you are fit, you are energetic, you are giving importance for the sake of your physical health also. Because only when physically you are fit, then only your energy level is high, and then only you can be at the best of your capacities as far as your creativity and imaginative potential they are concerned. As and when you are sick, whenever you are not so well, definitely you will not be able to give your best for your organization, for your task, to your duty. So, along with that, social, ethical responsibilities, cultural kinds of requirements, academic kind of requirements, all these, they should be met in such a manner that every student succeed. Once again, I would like to make a mention of addressing the needs of diversity of the students. Diversity with reference to their learning potential. There are slow learners, there are advanced learners, and there are average learners. So whatever plan I am making in the form of development of concepts, applications, theories, principles, whatever efforts I am making for the sake of developing a composition of lectures, case studies, discussions, seminar presentation, field work, dissertations, field survey, interviews, and all that. So I have to see to it that needs of each category of the student, they are they are given proper justice. In case I'm having more rural students in my institutes, so definitely my approach would be different than when I'm dealing with a students from metro city. Uh, Again, on the basis of their family background only, or maybe on the basis of the occupational background, maybe on the basis of such kind of educational as well as income background also. So definitely some kind of differences in the treatment in how I deal with the students, they are expected. So they are required. We must consider all such kinds of diversities, heterogeneities in dealing with the students. And then only we can say that every student would be succeeding in his or her own way. In case we are targeting only slow learners, definitely the advanced learners, never they would be able to realize their own potential to the maximum way. They would be deprived of many opportunities. Converse of the situation also is true. Only in case I focus on the advanced learners, slow learners, they would be slower now, and maybe they would remain standstill at a maybe at a particular moment in time. So a proper justice has to be given on the basis of realization of unique needs, unique requirements of each category of the students. And then only we can say that we are adopting a holistic kind of approach, all pervasive, all encompassing kind of approach. Holistic approach indicates that uh, we are looking towards livelihood and life, both. We are not only giving importance to livelihood, we are not only making an effort to make them employable. So that is again a requirement, but that should not be the only focus. Along with that, that just making them employable, that is only one of the aspects of education. That is not the end point of the education. So that realization has to dawn upon the teachers, and then only student, they would be convinced about that. So they would again look towards education uh, beyond being employable, something which they should cherish for their lifetime. Acquisition of life skills necessary for lifelong development. That is again consequent to the previous point. Education is all about making the student self-sufficient, independent, happy, and consequently successful. Lifelong development, it has to be ensured. Education has to be imparted in such a manner that the student would be able to develop his or her self-esteem, self-love, self-confidence, and independent pattern of thinking and living. In case that is being done, confident, independent individuals, they are being developed out of this learning process, out of this teaching process. Definitely, that is necessary for lifelong kind of development. Development of capacities that promote student wellness, such as fitness, good health, psychosocial well-being, as well as sound ethical grounding. So this is again saying the same thing of multiple intelligence in a different manner. So definitely, a student development has to take place in such a manner that along with physical development, social development, psychological development, cultural growth, it has to be ensured. Effort is made so as to see that a student is familiar with constitutional values, human values, is being a good citizen, and is able to fulfill the responsibilities of being a good citizen. Because number of times what happens, a person is very good at work, but the person is not able to give justice in the social sphere. Sometimes the best employee of the corporate may not be able to perform well at home. So all such kinds of lacunas and shortcomings, they would be removed as and when we are contemplating holistic education. All the facets of the personality, they should be developed, they should be nurtured, they should be groomed in such a manner that as and when there is a need of a particular kind of skill, a particular kind of ability, definitely learner would find no difficulty in applying that and doing the needful. Now again, let us see few aspects of multidisciplinary education, which is indicated out of the NEP 2020 features and the main pillars. Multidisciplinary education indicate there is a focus on skill education and employability. So skill education we are giving emphasis on employability, but at the same time, importance of creativity, importance of innovation, importance of lateral thinking, positive thinking, out-of-box thinking, definitely it has to be developed through all the dimensions, through exposure with different disciplines of human knowledge. So this is how multidisciplinary, now you must be aware that now, as per NEP 2020, every educational institute, definitely it has to be multidisciplinary institute. Nowadays, we are having some aspects in which only educational institutes, they deal with only one discipline or the other. There are some only science colleges. There are maybe some arts and commerce colleges. There are exclusively commerce colleges. There are only professional colleges and like that. So NEP 2020, it is in the favor of developing multidisciplinary colleges. Now, again, let me tell you that whenever you are given a wide assortment of choices, as far as programs are concerned, as far as courses and various subjects are concerned, so definitely only multidisciplinary institute they can give justice for such kinds of wide assortment. Choice-based credit system, it is possible only with, it can give justice and it would be functioning effectively only when different disciplines uh, they are available in that institute. Of course, we are having online platforms also. But again, at home, whenever there is an expertise, professional guidance that is readily available, it is having its own impact regarding the motivation of the students. Now, although we say that students, they would be having a wide choice being available in terms of programs as well as in terms of courses available to them. Now, as I said, in our state, curriculum is structured as per the NEP 2020 guidelines. And that new structure we are following for graduate as well as postgraduate programs. Then at some point, there may be a question that whatever choice was supposed to be made available, so that kind of flexibility and that kind of wide diversity that is not seen until yet. It may take few years because we are at the moment, we are in the phase of transition. We are trying the probability of merging of some institutes, and with that, we are trying to hope to develop all the multidisciplinary institute all over the nation. But all of a sudden, overnight, it cannot be done. It would require few days, few months, few years, and then only it would be fully materialized as per the essence and spirit of NEP 2020. Until then, we have to be content with less than perfect kind of approach, less than perfect kind of structure. So whatever expertise is available locally, whatever expertise is available in the vicinity of the institute, so that can be secured at this moment. And again, for adopting global practices, world-class practices, again, we'll have to wait for a period of time. So this is how flexible curricular structure. So flexibility is there, again indicated under the next bullet. Various levels of choice-based education within the department, across deanery, dual degree, across institutions or universities through credit transfer. So credit transfer that is possible very effectively and enjoyably, that is being done. In our Dantir campus also, we have been doing that even before NEP 2020. Interdepartmental transfer within the school, such as in my School of Commerce and Management Sciences, we have Department of Commerce and Department of Management. So few courses from commerce and few courses of management, we develop the courses in such a manner that a course of commerce like tally, like maybe management accounting, or like maybe auditing, in case management student, they are interested, they can also pick up that. Similarly, a course like strategic management, in case maybe soft skills or managerial communication, in case commerce students, they are interested, they can also get the benefit of that. So in this manner, interdepartmental credit transfers also we have been dealing with. Similarly, from within two different campus schools, again, that facility is available. In case a student of management wishes to update himself or herself with Java programming, with C programming, maybe wants to enjoy with drama, music, or maybe soft skills or communication skill from School of Languages and Literature. So that kind of facility we have been adopting from several years. So this is how education has become more enriched. Previously, that kind of flexibility, it was denied. Once you seek admission to a particular kind of program, completely courses from other program, they were out of reach. But now that flexibility that has been offered now through this credit transfer. So requisite number of credits for each semester, they are defined, and accordingly, some flexibility that is again given so as to seek those many credits as per your convenience. You can seek the help of digital lockers through this academic bank of credits, and accordingly, as per your leisure, you can seek more credits, and whenever you are busy, you can utilize those credit for the sake of giving justice for a particular semester's appraisal. Then multiple entry and multiple exits. So this is how lifelong learning concept, it has been respected under this NEP 2020. Previously, what used to happen is, because of some family issues, or maybe because of some health issues, or maybe some other reasons, a student is required to leave his or her education in before completion of that kind of program. So later on, it was not very easy. Rather, it was many times it was impossible again to continue with the same program, with the same courses, and with the same subjects. It was not allowed. Number of only with fortunate few they could seek that. Otherwise, there was a wide gap. But nowadays, what we observe is that facility now that is being available. Beautifully, the undergraduate program is for 3 years or 4 years. If you complete first year of the undergrad program, then you will be getting a certificate. Certificate indicating that you have finished with the 1 year of this program. In case at the end of the second year, you wish to stop, then you will be having a diploma certificate in your hands. Then you will be getting a diploma. So if at all you wish to join the stream, maybe after 1 year or 2 years, or maybe after 3 years, with that diploma, now you are having the next ladder to rise, and accordingly, you can continue with your education. After 3 years, you'll be getting a degree. After 4 years, in case you are interested in research honors degree, then you can continue with the fourth year of graduation, and with that you will be getting a research degree. With research degree, for PhD program, you will be having only 1 year of 1 year of just program for getting the degree. Or otherwise, with 3 years graduation, you can seek post-graduation in 2 years. So this is how multiple entry and multiple exits that are just permitted under this NEP 2020. It was not possible previously. Basically, all over the country, it is expected to have a uniform standard kind of pattern to the maximum possible extent. Of course, not 100%, but maybe 70%, 80%, and like that. Because anyhow, regional differences are there. And accordingly, regional differences, they must be given justice. So with reference to that, maximum level of uniformity and standardization that is expected, so that mobility of the student across the state, across the regions, that would be possible. So as I said, 4-year multidisciplinary undergraduate program with various exit options. That is a part of this multidisciplinary system of education. Along with that, again, the other features indicate the multidisciplinary education in the form of multidisciplinary institutes, renewed focus on every field such as arts, humanities, and help students to learn and grow holistically, equip them with stronger knowledge base. You must be knowing that at this before few years, a move has been started so as to deal with uh, professional institute like maybe IITs by dealing with a separate department of humanities, wherein some social sciences kinds of programs they would be given justice. And just now, as I indicated, NEP 2020 envisages existence of only multidisciplinary institutes. So whichever institute they are just dealing with only single stream, definitely they would be required to be collaborating or associating with the other institutes, and accordingly there would be an emergence of all the multidisciplinary educational institutes as per the indication of NEP 2020. Then only a proper justice it can be given for holistic development, for integrated development of the students. Because whenever you are interested in other disciplines, whenever you want to have an interaction with other disciplinarians, uh, dealing with intradisciplinary approach, dealing with interdisciplinary approach, multidisciplinary approach, transdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, all such kinds of dimensions with reference to number of human disciplines, definitely it is required to be given justice with this holistic as well as multidisciplinary education. As I have told in the first session also, holistic and multidisciplinary education, it is all about formal education, environment education, and value-based education. So a student would be aware not only about the knowledge, not only about the skills, not only with the development of the mindset, not only about development of the a specific kind of attitude. Along with that, along with education within the four walls of the classroom, efforts would be underway so as to indicate the on-the-job training, then giving with real-world business exposure, real-life business scenario that would be exposed, student would be exposed to real-life business scenario through formal education only. Through the system of education, there would be a provision of being aware about relationship with the environment, a symbiotic living, ecological kind of balance that would be indicated, because number of issues like pollution, like global warming, in case we are having this combination of formal education, environment education, and value-based education. So no problems like terrorism, no problems like pollution, no problems like global warming, they would have taken place. It is only with compartmentalization of education, only with departing from value education, not giving proper attention to constitutional values. Because of that, number of societal problems, number of issues at the global level also regarding some kind of disputes in between boundaries, in between various kinds of resources of various nations, proper distribution of natural resources and all that. Number of such kinds of issues, they have emerged only because of such kind of lacuna in the education system. With proper awareness about one's purpose in life, proper awareness about one's relatedness and connection with the other outside environmental variables. Let it be a social variable, an ecological variable, let it be a legal factor, let it be cultural kind of practice, let it be competitive environment, let it be legal environment. So whenever there is an association of everyone dealing with all such kinds of dimensions, dealing with regional boundaries, dealing with multilingualism, multiculturalism. So definitely with that, no such kinds of misunderstandings, no such kinds of misinterpretations, miscommunications, they would be taking place. People, they would be mature enough, they would be understanding enough so as to understand the interconnectedness, interdependencies. Uh, then again, uh, effectiveness, a systems approach, basically, as we understand, a holistic and integrated approach for understanding uh, the various kinds of interrelatedness and interdependencies. So that is a must. And along with that, a value dimension, it has to be attached with each and every way. Whenever you are talking about a theory, whenever you are talking about a principle, whenever you are sharing some practices, business practices, environmental practices, world-class practices, so definitely a value dimension, a dimension of moral values, it has to be attached with that. What would be the impact on the society? How the societal processes and phenomena, they would be, uh, what would be the ramifications of that? So that has to be taken into consideration. A student has to be given that kind of realization, and then only we can say that this is education in the true spirit. That is actually ancient Bharatiya education. So when we talk about education, not needless to say, holistic and multidisciplinary education, it is implied in the term education itself. Then again, let us again focus few more aspects with reference to the holistic and multidisciplinary education. Holistic and multidisciplinary education, it should strive in an integrated way, in a holistic way, so as to improve human capacities in a comprehensive manner. That means which first, which next, with what proportion, with what percentage, in what sequence, with what emphasis. It may vary from situation to situation. It may vary from person to person. But definitely, all human capacities, mental, cultural, social, emotional, moral, physical, psychological, definitely, they need to be addressed. And then only we can say that this is real education. Absorbing knowledge of several arts, popularly known as generous arts or liberal arts. I made a mention with the uh, Manabhatta's concept in Kadambari dealing with 64 kalas or 64 arts. All the arts, they were not only dealing with only music, drawing, dancing and all that. There were some science elements also like physics, chemistry, astronomy, astrology. They were being again involved as far as the 64 listing of 64 important kind of just dimensions of the education they were being concerned. So definitely uh, syllabus would be doing that. Education system, examination system would be doing that. But we teachers at our own level, whenever we are having interaction with the students, whenever we are interacting with our peers, whenever we are interacting with with the administrators, we are interacting with other leaders. So definitely we have to focus on each and every aspect of this holistic as well as multidisciplinary education. Optimal learning environments and support for students offer a holistic approach. I made a mention that change in the role, transformation in the role of a teacher from being a mere tutor to being an operations manager. An operations manager has to see to it that a proper learning environment is there, a state-of-the-art learning ambience that is expected from a teacher. A teacher may be a leader, the officially and directly or not. So at our own level, we have to assume leadership at our own level, and we have to see that whatever resources they are required, they are being mobilized for us and for the others. And then only we can give necessary support for the students, for the real education, for the education in the real sense of the term. What we are required to do that, which dimension they need to be focused for that curriculum first. Then interactive pedagogy, consistent formative assessment. Now again, number of controversies and number of debates and number of doubts and confusions they arise as far as this assessment is concerned. At some point in time, we experimented with open book system. At some point in time, we experimented with yearly examination, annual pattern. Then again, we experimented with semester system, trimester system. Number of experiments we are making. Then sometimes it was 50-50, internal, external. Sometimes it was 80-20. Sometimes it was 70-30. Now, I mean, education is undergoing a number of experiments. But anyhow, now again, Bloom's taxonomy is there. So accordingly, again, all the dimensions indicated under the Bloom's taxonomy, every student has to respect that. So this is how we are required to give adequate support for the students with reference to curriculum, with reference to pedagogy, as well as with reference to their assessment. All the links in the value chain, when we get the raw material, when a student is admitted, until we deliver the product to the society, to the economy. So in between these two steps, accepting the raw material and delivering the finished product to the market. Don't assume that I'm using the marketing language, nothing commercial as such. I'm just only trying to indicate that there are various phases at which we are required to influence our impact. There are various steps at which we must exercise our efforts, our dedication, devotion. At each and every stage, we are required to do that. And then only it is possible to just deal with holistic and multidisciplinary education. Every now and then, there may not be someone to instruct us. Every now and then, there may not be structural guidelines available for us. But at our own level, depending upon situational assessment, we teachers independently on our own, we must realize, we must sense what needs to be done at this moment so as to give justice for complete development of my student. Then various ways and means they are suggested under NEP 2020. Again, we are trying to appreciate holistic and multidisciplinary education with the help of several different points, several different features, several different characteristic attributes, and with that, when proper exposure is there, when proper awareness is there, automatically it clicks at a moment that this is what I should do for these many students at a particular moment in time for achieving this particular educational objectives. As we understand, we know the outcome-based education, OBE, and very well we are in the process of developing program-specific objectives, program-specific outcomes. We are just indicating what is the objective of this program. We are in a position to visualize what kind of outcomes we are expecting out of this specific program at the last stage and at each end point. Then definitely at our own level, automatically with proper awareness, with proper dedication and commitment, automatically it will click to us that this is what we should do. This is what I have to do. And accordingly, a number of such kinds of ideas, they would be coming to the mind. Because number of experiments we can do at our own level. Standard guide, I'm trying my best. I'm basically a management teacher. I deal with commerce and management students. So whatever I do at my own level, directly as it is, may not be applicable for a student, for a teacher of chemistry, for a teacher of anthropology. But definitely there are some common points which are adoptable with few changes, few modifications, definitely which we can adopt for the development of the students, for giving proper justice for the task which we are performing at our own level. Now, this is again important. Emphasis on theoretical understanding through pedagogies that highlight on communication, discussion, debate, research, and cross-disciplinary and interdisciplinary thinking. Now, these 2 points, they are just beautiful for understanding what basically as a teacher I should do so that whatever I do would be holistic and multidisciplinary way of education. So I have to emphasize theoretical understanding. And for each of the aspects, I have to apply different pedagogies. And these pedagogies, they should highlight various aspects of the mindset training and development of the students, like communication, oral communication, written communication, verbal communication, non-verbal communication, horizontal, vertical, formal, informal, grapevine, all levels of communication I should indicate to my students through my example, through my role, through me as a role model as well. I should get it done through them. Someone is very good at writing, but I should make an effort. I should make the student realize that only written communication is not enough. Oral communication also has to be developed. So this is how at various levels, communication has to be, communication needs of the student, communication skills of the students, communication objectives of the student, they must be addressed, and accordingly, different ways and means I have to adopt as a teacher so as to exhibit my skills, my ability, my competency. And second stage is getting it done from them and through them. For that purpose, different activities they are required. For that purpose, different opportunities they are required. And for that purpose, giving your 100%, that is a must. Because only when you are dealing with completion of the curriculum in time, dealing with only objective of 100% result, whenever you are having such kind of objectives and whenever you cannot deviate from such kinds of structured goals, then number of dilemmas a teacher may face. What I should do? I should meet to the needs of the student, or whether I should give justice for the some visible kind of objectives of the institute. So anyhow, everyone has to decide one's own freedom, one's own autonomy for exercising that. A planning has to be made in the beginning of the term, and throughout the term, again, we have to assess whether we are in the right direction or not. Discussion opportunities, they are required. Panel discussions, you have to exhibit them with experts online as well as offline kind of discussions, they are available. So how do NEP 2020, in case you was to convey to them, then you can indicate them some with the help of audio visual kind of media, that number of experts, number of world-class experts, they are having a panel discussion regarding NEP 2020. Then again, at local level, you must invite some outsiders, and accordingly, in front of them, face to face, some discussion has to take place. And again, one more level, you can indicate that students also, a group should be formed, and they would be required to talk about NEP 2020 as per their own understanding. That means at different levels, such kind of discussion, they should be carried on. And then only the dynamics of discussion, it would be imbibed, and the students in their own corporate, at their own level, they can modify it and use it for the sake of meeting the needs of the situation. Similar is the case with debate. Debate, discussions, expressions, leading the meetings, impressing upon the others, influencing others, convincing others, dominating others, if at all it is required. I mean, these are the various skills in which students must be well versed. You have to exhibit them through your own self. At the same time, you have to train them. You have to give them opportunities so that they can experiment whether they are capable to do that or not. You have to appraise them. Some peer activities also they are required to be done regarding that. Simultaneously, holistic and multidisciplinary education indicate that a research aptitude of the student also has to be developed. For that purpose, various dissertations, they are expected, various project reports, they are expected from them. They are required to deal with some kind of field survey. So maybe in the curriculum, it is structured, or maybe if at all, it is need of the course, need of the subject, it is need of the region, then definitely at your own level, you can be able to do that. So this is how research component also is very, very significant, and definitely you can never afford to ignore that. So whatever efforts you are making for planning your communication, for planning your syllabus, execution, so definitely a research component has to be a prominent feature of that. Number of opportunities they should be given to the students so that they can experiment with their research ability. They can experiment with some kind of search on their own. Cross-disciplinary and interdisciplinary thinking. So definitely that has to be encouraged. Interdisciplinary thinking indicates number of different disciplinarians, they are getting together, and from their own disciplines, they are borrowing the conceptions and integrated kind of solution they are trying to indicate. So that kind of exposure also you have to give to your students. Again, at different levels, at the level of your own self, you teachers as a group, you can indicate them out of your own activities. Secondly, you can take them to a particular kind of virtual medium, or maybe a particular kind of world-class place, world-best place wherein it would be exhibited, or maybe within the class, you can develop some groups, and every group let the same activity be performed by taking a different kind of theme. A research objective that is given for everyone. Accordingly, they may be given an activity of writing a research paper. They may be giving an activity of developing a review of a research paper. Different paper they would be given to them individually or in a group, to different group of the students, and accordingly they can be indicated that review this paper, write this paper, make your comments upon the paper, and accordingly write your own paper on similar theme or on related theme, or maybe on the same theme, whatever. So this is how developing a researcher. So that is again a need of the hour. Researchers, they are required everywhere. Entrepreneurs, innovators, creators, all such kinds of personality attributes, they are required to be nurtured and inculcated while dealing with education. And then only we can say that we are dealing with holistic and multidisciplinary education. Then the other aspect also that is very significant, education content focus on key concepts, ideas, applications, and problem solving angles. Whenever we are conveying them a specific theme, then we may indicate them key concepts. We may indicate several ideas dealing with that concept. We may make them aware. We have to make them aware about application of this concept in different areas of life, in different human endeavors. And at the same time, in case a problem arises, how with the help of this concept a problem can be solved. Such kinds of problem solving angles also they should be indicated to them. So at the end of the program, a student has to develop an approach that come what may, I am ready to face the situation. I am ready to accept the challenge. I am going to make my own place in the society. I am going to stand out in the crowd. That kind of confidence, it has to be created out of this holistic as well as multidisciplinary education. So with this, we have to appreciate that holistic and multidisciplinary education, it is all about intellectual development with a proper justice and with a proper weightage of social development, not losing the focus at physical development, taking care of emotional development, fully focusing on moral development, nurturing in a very delicate and sensitive manner the psychological development of the student, and at the same time seeing to it that spiritual development also that is taking place in a beautiful, enjoyable kind of manner. Whenever you are trying to develop all such faculties of development of the student, then only it is holistic and multidisciplinary education. So this is how uh, we are required to look at the concept of holistic and multidisciplinary education. Now only a few minutes they are left for your expression and for your contribution. I am very eager to listen from you regarding your ideas with reference to the theme of the session. Are you with me? I am waiting for your reflections. Okay, not possible for you to unmute. In that case, note down in the chat box. I open my chat box. Very well, as someone has commented that this kind of education will be of great help in creating more responsible citizens of the future. Very true. That is what the objective of this education is about. Yes, Rokde sir, please write in the chat box. Thank you for your kind words. I'm just reading uh, about your reactions and your responses regarding the session. Thanks for your good words. Definitely. It will be encompassing not only the members of the society, all members, but also academic intellectuals also. Along with that, they would be involved under this holistic and multidisciplinary. That is the focus of developing an equitable society based on uh, justice and fair dealings, making this place, making this world a better place to live. That is the basic objective of our day-to-day activities, contributing for the betterment. Oh, Rushi Kulkarni is asking, is it really possible to focus all these things in holistic development with regular academic and examination schedules? Definitely. That we have been doing from number of years together. NEP 2020 now we are talking about, but even before that, as I said, the number of opportunities we grab, number of opportunities we get for the sake of retrospecting and introspecting regarding whatever we have been doing. Such as I perform some research project, minor research project and major research project. Then out of that, I try to indicate whether I'm in the right direction, whether something is missing, and then I could get some good guidelines. And on that basis, I imbibe some of those guidelines within my day-to-day routine. So in case you are having a proper focus, and definitely in case you are planning uh, before beginning of the term, definitely it is possible to focus all such kinds of things by giving justice to academic as well as examination schedules. By giving justice for the workload, definitely we can be able to do that. Because on the basis of my own experience, I've been saying that because I experimented with number of such kinds of initiatives. And definitely, I'm happy that I could get satisfaction out of these activities. Very true. Someone has indicated that more choices and flexibility, it would be helpful for development of students, definitely. Shall I take your leave? Rokde sir, you wanted to ask something or say something. Please type and indicate that. Thank you all for your nice comments and appreciating the session. Shall I take your leave? Thank you.